Hello everybody, welcome into the live stream. I hope you're all doing well on this Thursday evening. It is November the 6th. It is currently 10:12 p.m. Central Time, 11:12 p.m. Eastern. But we're just going to be doing a very brief stream looking at what we've got going on tomorrow. In terms of severe weather, we do have a slight risk in effect for portions of Tennessee and Kentucky. So level 2 out of 5 slight risk, and that is a hail-driven risk. So we're going to get a couple more people in here. We've got 2 people watching right now, 1 like. So for those of you just tuning in, please consider liking the stream. Helps out a lot. But we are going to go ahead and get started looking at the SPC website. This is likely going to be a very brief stream. I was planning to make a forecast video, but I didn't want to come on here and say hello to everybody. And I figured a live stream would be a better way to do that. And I also don't really have the time to edit tonight, unfortunately. But today we had a general thunderstorm risk, so nothing too crazy, no severe weather risk, and that included portions of northeast Missouri, extreme southeastern Iowa, central and northern Illinois, southern Michigan, along with portions of northern, central, and northwestern Indiana. Tomorrow is not a big day, in all honesty, but the biggest day that we're looking at right now. So we do have a level 2 out of 5 slight risk. This was initially a day 3 slight risk. It has shrunken a lot since it was initially issued, but you can still see that does include portions of Tennessee and Kentucky. If we pull up the cities, Nashville and Bowling Green, Kentucky, and Nashville, Tennessee are right smack dab in the center of that risk. So you can see a 2% tornado risk for a couple tornadoes possible. Spin-up tornadoes, nothing too insane likely tomorrow, but that stretches from portions of the Florida Panhandle, including eastern Mississippi and most of Alabama, through central Tennessee and all the way back up to the Ohio-Kentucky border. Our damaging wind risk is going to be, this is actually what's driving the majority of that marginal risk shape, where it goes back into West Virginia and Ohio. Camp says Flopfest. Yeah, that's what I think. So I don't really know why this is a slight risk. I mean, I guess for hail risk. We'll look at lapse rates in a little bit. But once again, what I was going over, we have a 5% damaging wind risk that takes the same shape pretty much as our tornado risk, but that stretches a bit further back to the north and east and tucks into portions of southern Ohio and western West Virginia. Nothing too crazy in terms of damaging winds, maybe some wind gust 50, 60, 65 miles per hour with those severe thunderstorm warnings if we do see some. But what's mainly driving that slight risk is that 15% non-hatched hail risk. So that does include Nashville, Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Franklin, Tennessee, Hendersonville, Tennessee, and areas just stretching back from Nashville through Bowling Green, Kentucky. You can see that on our city map. So really nothing too concerning tomorrow, but it is worth going over. I did decide probably wasn't worth it to make a forecast. And then on the day 3, so once again, this is tomorrow. So if you're in the Nashville area, Bowling Green, Kentucky, especially, be sure to just keep an eye on the weather tomorrow. Nothing too crazy is expected, but nonetheless, doesn't hurt to sail or have at least 1 or 2 ways to receive severe weather alerts. And then day 3, this is Saturday. We have a marginal risk of severe weather, which barely includes northeast Texas, south of Texarkana. That does include southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, and then most of Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama, portions of South Carolina. We're likely going to see a 2% tornado risk with this and a damaging wind risk. I would doubt much of a hail risk, but it is always possible. So that is what we're looking at in terms of Saturday. So not really too much that I've got my eyes on in terms of severe weather within the next 5 to 6 days. If you had to put a slight risk, you would put it on the Mississippi-Alabama state line for tomorrow or Saturday. Because for Saturday, if I had to put a slight risk, I would put it on the Mississippi-Alabama state line. For tomorrow, I mean, I guess I could kind of see that, but don't really see us seeing that many storms tomorrow. Would it be a wind risk or hail? Because I don't really see much of a hail threat down that far south from what I've seen. We do have 6 people watching, so welcome in everybody. I hope you're all doing well, enjoying your Thursday evening. If you're just tuning in, please consider liking the stream and maybe even subscribing to the channel if you're new around here. It's completely free and helps out a lot. Looks like we've gained 2 subscribers this stream, so I appreciate all of you who have just joined the channel. If anybody would like to go above and beyond to support the channel, there is a PayPal link to chat, but that is 100% optional. That is not our goal with this channel, to make money. Our goal is to help people, keep you all alert. Wouldn't want to, but if you had to, I agree, Camp. I mean, I think the fact that they did even throw a slight risk out for hail, even on day 3 especially, that is a little bit crazy, just because I don't really see the potential. We'll look at a couple models here. Here's the ARRR composite reflectivity for tomorrow. So this is in the afternoon tomorrow. You can see a couple, I wouldn't even say semi-discrete storms, but some storms, this cluster that we're going to have tomorrow along the Tennessee-Kentucky border where our slight risk is. That's likely the area where we will see our hail. My issue with what you're saying, Camp, with the 15% hail risk, is that I don't think it would go down further south because, yes, we do have a semi-discrete cell forecasted down there, but I don't really see that potent of an environment down that far south. So I would agree with the National Weather Service or the Storm Prediction Center with having that slight risk further north. I wouldn't say we need one at all, but if we look at lapse rates down here, did they rearrange this too? Pivotal Weather had an update, so I'm not 100% sure where our lapse rates are. I swear they changed this. Okay, there it is down here. Yeah, so nothing too high. We have lapse rates around 6.5 to 7, so I wouldn't say nothing really concerning. What's up, Jack, Weather Tracker? Thanks for tuning in. What settings do I use? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I use just the default on Pivotal Weather. This is the new update that they're releasing. But that's what we're looking at in terms of composite reflectivity. Here's our what platform is my favorite? Right now I use Radar Omega, Radar Scope in terms of radar, but mainly Radar Omega when we're on stream. And then I use Pivotal Weather for most forecasts, sometimes Tropical Tidbits. This is Pivotal Weather. And I think the main reason we're not going to see a damaging wind risk that much tomorrow is because where we do have our storms forecast, which is down here in northern Tennessee and southern Kentucky, there isn't too much of a severe weather risk or a storm risk that far north. So we're not going to see too many storms up there, so they're not really issuing that risk because that's where we have wind shear approaching 40 knots, even 48 in some areas. Supercell WX is severely underrated. I would agree with you. I don't use it too often, but I have tried to use it more the past couple weeks. My main issue with it is that it's been down a lot lately, along with Tropical Tidbits. They both have, actually. But as I was saying, we're not going to have too much wind shear down here where we do have storms forecast. I had surface-based Cape pulled up. I wanted to take a look at that, so give this just a second to load. Let's get to tomorrow. It's nice that they show the actual time now on here. So another thing that's an issue tomorrow is that we're not going to have too much Cape in terms of on the surface. So it's going to be a little bit harder for storms to develop and get that fuel to start. So you can see we have around 1,000 joules per kilogram just west of where that slight risk is. But if we actually look at storm relative helicity for the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere, give this a second to load. I think this is part of the reason why we only have a 2% tornado risk, because the majority of our SRH is far east of where we're forecasting storms. We're only going to have around 200 SRH in those areas, so I think a 2% tornado risk is reasonable for tomorrow. We do actually have quite a good amount of SRH in, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 1 I guess that would be northwestern Pennsylvania, southwestern New York. Want to give a shout out to Jack the Weather Tracker. It's his birthday. So shout out. We did actually just hit. So we have 1,710 subscribers now. So thank you all for that. It's pretty crazy that we're already there, considering we were just at 1,700. So I appreciate every single one of you who's watching. Hi, I've been watching you for a bit. What do you think is the craziest tornado? That is a really hard question. That's like asking an English teacher what their favorite book is. So I'm not going to answer that. It's really hard to determine. But there are some tornadoes that I think were pretty cool, like Dickens and Wellfleet. Dickens Wellfleet in Nebraska. But once again, thank you all for 1,710 subscribers. Greatly appreciated. You're in Grand Junction. Any precipitation in the forecast? We can take a look at that. Gary's up there, but I don't like it nearly as much as you would think I do. Grand Junction, just looking at the broad picture with the GFS, in terms of precipitation, in the next 100 hours, as of right now, you're not forecast to get any precipitation in Grand Junction. Right now, the models are picking up on pretty much nothing for y'all. It's going to be pretty dry there. Obviously, we could go a bit more in depth, but we're not going to right now for Grand Junction. Once again, for those of you just tuning in, tomorrow we do have a slight risk. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove you. Please do not provide your address in the stream. That is crazy. I'm surprised YouTube even let you do that. But once again, for those of you just tuning in, as I was saying, we do have a slight risk of severe weather tomorrow, which includes Nashville, Tennessee. That is crazy. Can't stop thinking about that now. I'm not going to say what happened, but if you saw it, if you know, you know. But once again, a slight risk of severe weather. This is a hail-driven risk. That includes Nashville, Tennessee, and Bowling Green, Kentucky tomorrow. And then that marginal risk stretching back through portions of Kentucky, Ohio, Charleston, West Virginia is included, Mobile, Alabama. But nothing really too crazy tomorrow to watch out for. Just do be alert and remain alert for severe weather in your areas. Just make sure you have those wireless emergency alerts enabled. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a brief spin-up tornado or two tomorrow. But I do think that 2% tornado risk is reasonable. Unless we have some crazy uptick overnight, I would be pretty shocked to see a 5% issued. If I had to issue a 5% tornado risk, where would I put it? I don't know. Actually, I would put my 5% tornado risk. I don't have a marker tool. But I would put the 5% tornado risk right around here if I had to, just a bit north and east of the slight risk. But I do not think a 5% risk would warrant tomorrow. I'm just saying, if we were to get one. We're at 1,711 subscribers. Thank you to whoever just subscribed. It is greatly appreciated. Be sure to check out some of our videos on the channel. If you are new around here, we've got some good ones. Some that I would recommend checking out are the 1999 more F5 tornado analysis video. I'd recommend checking out the Parkersburg video and the Omaha, Nebraska, also known as the Elkhorn tornado. Those are probably the big three I would check out on the channel. But once again, nothing too crazy in terms of tomorrow that I'm seeing. Let's get our forecast loop pulled back up. We'll go to model trend. Okay, so we actually don't want that. We'll do a model comparison, kind of just messing around with the new layout. Okay, so it looks like it doesn't show too many frames for that, so we're going to go back to forecast. But once again, those storms mainly forecast near Bowling Green, Kentucky. Your guys' main time for that threat will be anywhere between, I would say, 3:30 p.m. Central through around 7 p.m. Central. And then that's going to continue to move east. If we actually take a sounding, this would be at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, just ahead of these storms. Okay, so possible hazard type is none. We might need to go a bit earlier. So the possible hazard type is not always accurate. It is saying none, though. We might have to take it a bit further out ahead of these storms. But we'll still look at our sounding nonetheless. You can see SRH. We have a decent amount in the first kilometer of the atmosphere for a slight risk. And then the first 3 kilometers isn't much more. Most of that's found in the first 1.5 kilometers of the atmosphere. So that is what we are looking at in terms of tomorrow. But unless anybody has any last questions, I think we're pretty good for tonight, and we can wrap up things pretty soon. Let's check our sub count now. 1,711. Thank you all for the support once again. We've gained 117 watch hours in the past 28 days. That's pretty good. But for those of you who are new to the channel or looking for something to watch, a couple videos I would recommend watching. Joplin tornado video. It's okay, not my favorite on the channel. It's pretty old. But one that I do enjoy myself and have gone back to watch a couple times is the Bridge Creek Moore May 3rd, 1999 F5 tornado analysis. I also enjoyed the Parkersburg one. That one was really fun to make. Tuscaloosa was pretty good. And then another good video that I made was the Elkhorn tornado. That one is pretty underrated in my opinion. Only 100 views. Yeah, 10K views. I would say that's pretty good for my most popular. But the majority of that video is a footage compilation instead of an analysis. That was a long time ago, though. I started working on that in 2023 and then stopped and then started working on it again. So my voice was really bad back then in those videos. Everything about like 5 months old isn't that bad. I made a video. I'm gonna make this video again. I enjoyed making this video. It got 9 likes too, which is pretty good for me. So this was my best lightning moments of 2024. So we'll go ahead and mute that, but you could see I just made a compilation of some of my best lightning footage of this year. Well, this is 2024, and I uploaded that December 21st, 2024. I plan to make a video just like this again, but I think that this one will come out sooner because I don't imagine I'll see lightning again this year unless I get thunder snow. But hopefully I can release it around Christmas. Maybe it'll be a Christmas Day thing. But once again, tomorrow we do have a slight risk of severe weather. We'll go over that one last time. Then we'll probably end off stream. But for those of you just tuning in, we have 5 people watching and 3 likes. Please consider liking the stream. Helps out a lot. If you'd like to go above and beyond to support the channel, there's a PayPal. Donations are 100% optional but greatly appreciated. Even just watching helps. Tomorrow's slight risk does include Nashville, Tennessee, and Bowling Green, Kentucky. A 2% tornado risk. Nothing too crazy expected with that. Maybe a couple spin-up tornadoes possible. Wow, we're up to 6 likes now. Wind risk, 5%. Nothing too crazy for damaging winds either. Really just a hail risk tomorrow. And the main timing for that, according to the HRRR, a lot of models are agreeing on this, will likely be some large hail in north central Tennessee and south central Kentucky around 7 p.m. Central and 8 p.m. Eastern. Once again, that is going to be the end of this live stream. We'll go to chat really quick. I want to thank Camp for tuning in. We had Sam, Jack the Weather Tracker, a couple of those other people. So for those of you who tuned in, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.